Hey Star Warriors, Geek here, and today I'm going to be explaining to you the history and rules of Dejarik. It's the game that taught us not to play too rough with a Wookiee.
I suggest a new strategy, R2. Let the Wookiee win.
We're going to look back at the history of the game and how to play it. Keep in mind that most of this is exclusive to the expanded universe. The way that I approach any Legends material is that as long as it isn't completely ridiculous and doesn't contradict with canon, I'll accept it. So just have fun learning about Dejarik today. A lot of credit for this episode goes to Mike Kelly, who vastly expanded the rules of the game. You definitely want to wait around past the credits to see Dejarik played in real life through augmented reality. Trust me, it's worth it. Now, let's get started with some basic behind-the-scenes history. Star Wars Holochess, originally called Space Chess, began around 1976 to 1977, when animation expert Phil Tippett took a bunch of small monsters and made them come to life through stop-motion animation. Roughly 38 years later, he was asked to return to Dejarik to bring it to life one last time. Whether you saw it for the first time in A New Hope,
You made a fair move. Screaming about it can't help you.
or in The Force Awakens,
Welcome.
this game fascinated you in delight. So, what is Dejarik? Dejarik is an extremely popular holo game in the Star Wars universe, second only to the card game Sabacc. The origins of the game are all but unknown, with many different planets and settlements claiming the game to come from their history. Corellians claim that Dejarik was first invented by their early sea explorers, even before the exploration into space. When early spaceships were in development, the game began to be converted into a holographic form in order to be played in zero-G. Both Alderaanians and the Coruscanti believe that the game originated from their palace guardsmen in order to pass the time. There are actually two versions of the game, which are very different from each other. There's the classic Dejarik, a gladiatorial competition based on positioning and luck, while its close cousin, Courtier, is all about pure strategy. The Corellians claim that their game was much closer to Dejarik, while the people of Coruscant and Alderaan believe their entertainment was originally closer to Courtier. While none of these rumors have been denied, most historians believe the true origins of the game to come from the Duros culture, not any human creation. It's a slight variation on Dejarik called Lai Kietz, the true predecessor of the holochess that we all know. The game is played on a black and white checkered table, which has a cylindrical base and a small hologram generator. The board is roughly 20 inches or half a meter in diameter. It's divided into 3 rings which are known as orbits. The 2 outer orbits are split into 12 equal segments called rays. The center circle is always purely white, and is the most maneuverable position on the board. Dejarik is traditionally played with 8 pieces. Each of these pieces have unique credentials and capabilities. They are rated on movement, defense, and offense, determining the different skill sets of each character. There are 2 power pieces. Each of these have very high ratings in all categories. The Mantelian Savrip that R2 used to defeat Chewbacca has an attack of 6, a defense of 6, and a movement of 2. The Manuk has an attack of 6, a defense of 5, and a movement of 3. These are the best pieces in the game when positioned correctly. There are also 2 mid pieces, the Hoojiks and the Geek. They have average ratings in all categories. The Geek has an attack of 4, a defense of 3, and a movement of 2. The Hoojiks has an attack of 4, a defense of 4, and a movement of 1. The next 2 pieces are labeled as offensive, having high attack ratings and low defense ratings. The Chlor Slug has an attack of 7, a defense of 3, and a movement of 3. Grimtosh the Molitor has an impressive attack of 8, a defense of 2, and a movement of 2. Lastly, we have our defensive characters. These include the Ungok and Chewbacca's Kintan Strider. The Ungok has an attack of 3, a defense of 8, and a movement of 1. The Strider has an attack of 2, a defense of 7, and a movement of 3. Together, these pieces make up the set that you need to play traditional holochess. The characters depicted range from real species from throughout the galaxy, to mythical beings and legends. Of course, you can always purchase alternate pieces to play with. Droids, starships, and even politicians were very popular alternatives. Each of these new characters would have unique ratings. At the beginning of each game, the computer would randomly assign 4 pieces to each player. That doesn't mean that each player received 1 power piece, 1 offensive piece, 1 defensive piece, and 1 mid piece. It's all completely random. Games often sway in a certain player's favor simply based on the random assignment of these 8 figures. Players would sit on opposite sides of the board, playing as either the blue team or the red team. The objective of the game is to destroy all of your opponent's pieces before they can destroy yours. The team left alive wins the game. Once everyone is in place and the pieces are set up, the players flip a coin to decide who goes first. During each turn, a player must make 2 consecutive actions. They can move a piece twice, or attack 2 different opposing pieces, or move and then attack, or attack and then move. A player cannot choose to simply skip a play. They must look at the ratings of their pieces and determine which piece they would like to play. When moving a piece, it must be moved the full amount of designated spaces. For example, if they chose to play the Chlor Slug, they would have to move him 2 rays over. No more, no less. Pieces may only make legal moves across the game board. They can move to rays adjacent to their current one. That means that they can move around the orbits, along the rays, or a combination of both, but are not allowed to move diagonally or into a space already occupied. When attacking a piece, the player must be positioned adjacent to their opponent. The computer will calculate the results based on the attacking piece's attack rating and the opposing piece's defense rating. There are 4 possible outcomes to the calculations. A kill results in the opponent dying in an extremely graphic manner, often getting their heads bashed in or their spines ripped out of their backs. A push allows the attacker to move his opponent to an open adjacent space. When pushed strategically, it can really sway the game in the attacker's favor. A counter push does the exact opposite, allowing the opponent to push the attacker into an adjacent ray. A counter kill results in the opponent slaying the attacker. You can also play to the death, where you continue to attack until one of the pieces is killed. In the end, whichever player defeats all of the opponent's pieces wins the match.
Now be careful, R2.
That's how you play Dejarik. I really enjoyed making this episode, so if you guys liked what you saw, I'd love to do more of these. Maybe next time I'll talk about Sabacc, or maybe I'll just look at some more Legend stories. Subscribe to Star Geek for weekly Star Wars content. Before you click away, make sure to wait past the credits for real-life Dejarik. If you enjoyed the video, please shoot that like button at light speed. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by clicking the links in the description. And you can check out my last video, the top 10 greatest special edition changes, if you just click on the thumbnail. You can also watch my explanation of the Aurebesh. Until we meet again in a galaxy far, far away, this has been Star Geek. Amazingly, there are 2 people who figured out how to make Star Wars Holochess in real life. Through augmented reality, they've been able to deliver the closest version of the game that we saw in the movie. It is totally playable, working through an app. Ian Martin built the table from scratch, as well as hand sculpting, casting, and 3D scanning the monsters in incredible detail and accuracy. The table is complete with lights, displays, and a randomizer so you can actually play the game. I met him at Emerald City Comic Con this April, and actually saw the table up close. On top of this amazing replica, he also built a full-scale Millennium Falcon lounge to go with it, which he allowed fans to take pictures with. With the help of Adrian, they've developed an actual playable version of Dejarik. It's an incredible feat, which you should definitely go check out at Dejarik Creations on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks for watching, everyone. But if you plan on playing Dejarik yourself, I suggest a new strategy. Let the Wookiee win.